Beezel is a 2024 independent horror film directed by Aaron Friedkin and co-written with Victoria Friedkin, husband and wife. And if those names sound familiar, that's because they're behind the 250,000 plus subscriber YouTube horror short film channel, Social House Films. And I've reacted to their short horror films, and seeing them do a feature-length film that is 81 minutes long, that really dives right deep into the story. This is it. It's distributed by Dread, and it had a select theater cinema release date on September 20th, 2024 in select theaters and cities, but it had a video on demand release, and it's on Apple TV Plus, where I did watch it on September 24th, 2024. It is in the top 5 and top 10 on Apple TV Plus in the indie horror section. Now, this story talks about a blind witch who lives under a house that eats people. Yeah, simple, effective, but it's like, what is happening? Well, there's more to the story. Now, the main character of Rob moves into a house in Massachusetts along with his wife and young son, but you can tell that in the beginning something isn't right, and that really shows. You hear the odd sounds in the background. You really don't know what it is, but they're faint. It's like that little click of a light switch, or that little ding of a sound. It's like, okay, you're like, did you hear that correctly? And it gets louder and louder as the film progresses, which is a really good horror trope, which was done well. Now, after Rob discovers Beezel, an ancient blind witch who evidently, like I stated, eats people and lives under the house, then the aspect of, all right, what's going on? This takes place over 60 years, so 6 decades, focusing on different characters in this one house who move in and out, family members, friends who kind of inherit the house. That's underlining subplot as well. All the while, the interesting thing is that from what I've heard and what I've learned is that Aaron Friedkin actually grew up in the house where the film was shot, and having lived with odd noises that were coming from certain aspects of, where he lived, was the plot of Beezel, which is fantastic. But when you have a director who knows how to turn a actual experience in real life into a film, it's always a good thing. Now, the collaboration that he does with his wife Victoria is phenomenal, and they never miss a beat, especially with the short horror films that they've done on their YouTube channel, Social House Films, and reacting to them myself since the start of the 2020 year and moving on to now. It's like, what is really happening? You see the progression of the directing, the writing, and it's like, all right, let's see them, work with big minimal aspects of what they are doing in the filmmaking world. The thing that I do love about this is that the scares are there. It's subtle scares, but it's scares that are effective. It has sort of like that Conjuring, Evil Dead feel to it. You don't really know what's happening. You don't know why Beezel is there. You don't know why she's eating people. And when they show the aspect of the witch, the makeup, whew, mind-blowing. Practical effects. Practical effects, practical effects. I can't stress enough how I'm a huge advocate for practical effects. Yes, CGI is here, and you can use that for a horror film using CGI. No, don't do that. This is what this film does. This film does not use any CGI. You can see the practical elements of the makeup that is on the witch, the aspect of being blind, and it's like, wait a minute, all right, this is an odd subject, but it's like, all right, witches all of a sudden are now gaining more popularity in pop culture, and it doesn't look like, it's going to die down at all. Aaron does utilize the space and the aspect of the basement, crawl spaces. There's a great scene with a nurse that is really freaky and scary, and it's just like, when someone screams in this horror film, it's like you feel their scream in your body shaking you. That's how crazy it is. Not only that, the chemistry between the actors is really good, because horror films need chemistry. You can always throw in a young child and they're the main focus point. It's like, all right, the young child, they can't get hurt, this or that. But then, you can change certain things. But with what Aaron does with the character development is good, because it's progressing over 60 years. 6 decades of a story that long in 81 minutes. It's really hard to do, but Aaron and Victoria did that perfectly. The only thing that I didn't like, and I usually don't critique stuff like this, but I wanted to know more about the witch, Beezel. I wanted to know why she's under the house, why she is eating people, where she came from. Is it a ritual? Is it land that the house was built on, like Poltergeist? Does that have Poltergeist vibes to it? Is it an old ancient thing where it was during the Salem witch trial and then something happened, but in order to regenerate herself into human form because of a demonic thing that happened, she has to eat people to regenerate her power, her energy, her entity. And, is she killing certain people for certain reasons? That's what I wanted to know more. But the plot did present the aspect of killings really, really well, which was done immaculately, where I'm just like, wow, I never would have thought of that. But it's really, really fun. The blood is there, the horror is there, the gore is there. If you want that, this film delivers. But if you want it where, oh, I want to know what more about the witch, you're not going to get that. But for 81 minutes, I mean, they really wrap up things where it's like, oh, okay, this is really interesting. For a small YouTube channel that was started about 4 or 5 years ago, it has over, 50 million plus views, 250,000 subscribers, and having a feature film out now within those 4 years, it's fantastic. What they've done, amazing. Seeing their rise from where they started to now is always good to see. I always support indie filmmakers, and Aaron and Victoria really do have a future and career in this genre. I give it 1 to 3 years that they will be picked up by a major, and I mean a major, film studio where they are directing original content that they wrote, they created, and also maybe, just maybe, directing and writing a big horror franchise. I said that right now. Mark it down. It will happen, and I guarantee you it will happen. That's how much positivity I have in this filmmaking duo. Now, this is a fun film from start to finish, and if you love indie horror like I do and love practical effects like I do, this is a film for you. Check it out. You will love it. It's now on Prime Video to watch. You can watch it on Apple TV Plus, whatever streaming service you have. Check it out. It's definitely going to get people talking, and maybe we'll get a sequel, maybe we'll get a prequel as to what this witch is, where she comes from, because that's always the fun part too. For me, Beezel gets 4.5 out of 5 stars. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about Beezel, directed by Aaron Friedkin and written by Victoria and Aaron Friedkin. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? What did you think about the aspect of the horror, the gore, the blood, the backstory, the chemistry between the actors and the characters? Do you think that more could have been done, or do you think it was just the right amount? And did you like the runtime of 81 minutes, or do you think that this could have been stretched into a full 2-hour, 2.5-hour horror film? Let me know in the comment section below. But all the questions I just asked. I'm Mr. Filmstock. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you all in the next review video. And also let me know in the comment section below what rating you would give Beezel.